up, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between? Jason, brother, how are you, my friend?
I'm alive and well, brother.
We have Shane Kirshenblatt on tonight. We're going to bring him in just a second, but we wanted to thank everyone for liking and subscribing, and thanks for letting the Metallica video be our most favorite one. We're just a little show here by a couple of old fuckers talking about being creative and having a good time and supporting men's mental health. And what's funny is the demographic. I went to the where you can find out exactly what happened with the video, right? 100% male. Mark went up for the men. Anyway, this is a show for men, about men, by men, but 300% more women watch the show than men. So that's really interesting that the YouTube ratio was different, but it was our first reaction video, really. Like we did a couple other ones, but anyway, so before we
might do some more,
we're doing more. Yeah, we're doing more. Actually, you'll see one on Monday and one on Wednesday. And that'll be CreatiVity Talkin tunage, where we'll react to classic tunes. We're gonna do it like I gotta wait till you hear about it. We've got a whole bunch of different shit we're gonna be doing with that one. We can do classic, we can do greatest albums, we can do
whatever
the fuck. Anyway, but that's that. And actually our first one that we're doing will be dropping Monday morning. Will be Painted Horse by Anthony Gomes, who is playing in Arkansas tonight. So before we get going, we just gotta pay the bills here. And let's hear a little bit from Vito.
The Book of Vito Bupkis.
Hey everybody, it's your pal Vito. In this book, I talk about subjects people seem to get their panties in a wad over. I mean, who would have thunk? Gay fucking marriage, common fucking sense, garage fucking sales. But hey, what do I know? Guaranteed to offend, and it's available now at vincentcustos.com. And, you can get it there.
The Book of Vito Bupkis.
So order yours today, or else.
And since Christmas is coming, don't give all your money to those billionaire dudes. Give it to us.
This is Biff Strange, your friendly neighborhood engineer, and I'm here to announce CreatiVity Talkin's merchandise page. Fancy. Check out the designs we got up online there. We've got beanies, t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Just go to creativity-talkin.myspreadshop.com. Now that's what I call creativity talking.
All right. Thank you. Good night. Just kidding. But all right, dude. So how have you ever worked with someone who's a total fucking pain in the ass?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, there was a situation where my friendship started with our guest tonight, Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Was like the most easiest person ever to
deal with. Yeah.
So if Shane's in your office pitching you an idea or you hear his name come across, he's really easy to work with. So take his call. Anyway, so let's take his call right now. Shane, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Welcome. You are our first out-of-country guest.
Yeah. We're going all international, I guess, now, huh? Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Sunny Canada.
Yeah, sunny Canada. So he's in Toronto, and my dad's side of the family is from Winnipeg. So it's nice to have and oh, by the way, Anthony Gomes, who we're going to be doing our first thing, is also from Toronto. So good.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, he lives down there, but So Shane, dude, what's happening? Can you tell us a little bit of what you got going on behind you?
Oh, this massive adult collection of toys here is a tribute to my childhood in the 80s. And got your Gremlins, you got Ghostbusters, you've got the Ninja Turtles, and all that stuff. And basically, it's why I need to work so much to pay for it, and eventually get a second home to fit more because I'm out of space at the moment.
Right,
and to make
people give shit. Yeah, people give shit to collectors, right? Just like Jason collects guitars. It's like, dude, people collect all types of. It doesn't matter.
Whatever you're into, man.
Hey,
Just do
as
what
long
you
as it
love,
makes
you know?
happy, you know.
Yeah.
And so me and Shane met on the Comic-Con tours. Shane was touring with another individual and some other people, and so that's how me and Shane actually met. So tell everyone a little bit about your background.
Well, my background from a art standpoint, I mean, I've basically been doing it my entire life. I mean, my mom kind of noticed me drawing from about the age of 4 and a half, and I would do things like, copy, from storybooks. Like the first drawing I think she noticed me doing was from a Pac-Man storybook because they did that for some reason.
All right.
There was Pac-Man stories that were licensed from a tiny little hockey puck. But anyway, so so as the years went on, I kept pursuing it, and eventually went to animation school. And while I was going to animation school, I sort of happened upon one day. I think I was sick. I was homesick, and this was, I think, when I was just getting ready to start animation school. And I watched a documentary called Comic Book Confidential, which was by another Torontonian, Ron Mann. And that movie kind of opened my eyes to the possibilities of what can be done in comics, because up to that point, my understanding was like you had your Marvel, you had your DC, and you had your kind of your Mad magazine, and you had your Archies, and really I wasn't really aware of much else. I mean, I heard about the horror comics like Tales from the Crypt, but I got turned on to like the underground comics. I got turned on to like Mouse by Art Spiegelman and the autobiographical stuff, and I was like, holy shit, like there's so much I can do with this medium that I wasn't even aware of. And it just sort of, it got me really passionate about that. So passionate, in fact, that I became disenchanted with animation and gave up that education about a year and a half later to pursue comics more full time. And somehow I managed to get a publishing deal at about age 23, 24 on my first series, which was called Dorothy Gale Journey to Oz. And that was just sort of like a dark modern retelling of The Wizard of Oz. And like, just so everyone knows, like that's not a typical situation. Like you don't, as a newcomer, get a publishing deal right away. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this as a cautionary tale because I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time. But this publisher saw something in me and wanted to give me a shot. And I was able to stumble out with a critically successful, first couple of books. Like they were very well received, but there was some distribution issues along the way. And then eventually I started working on more shorts and getting into some animation development stuff because I figured, you know what, like I still like the storytelling. And when I got out of animation initially, it was because it was more 3D and I was more inclined to do the 2D stuff, but the 2D started coming back. So that's when I hooked up with a certain individual to develop that stuff. And that's where you came in, Vince, actually, when we were doing the comic scene.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So we had, so basically it's good to go. They just needed a producer. There was a, character Bible, there was characters, there was backstory, and then, we flushed more of that out, but, the characters look solid and they're ready to go, and, yeah. So just weird, situations, like, no matter, this is kind of why I got out of filmmaking, because no matter how many hours you spend on something in the good, like, hey, we're doing this because this is going to be cool, we'll make a nice living, but we're telling the story. You know what I mean? Like money's almost a plus if you're driven to do something,
right? Yeah,
that.
You do it anyway, and if the money comes, then fine.
Right, and that's part of like trying to sell something. You got to work for free until it pops,
Yeah.
And anyway, so just weird, situations, and people are always like, hey, why is it so long for something to get made? How many times have you run into that?
Well, in that particular case, the reason things were taking longer to get made And I would discover in later years when I was working with different people that things, when you're working with the right people, don't have to take too long to get made if everyone is focused on them. And one of the people isn't spending most of their day on eBay looking up toys instead of doing character design work or something up. And I'll give you a hint, it wasn't the person I'm talking about wasn't me doing that, even though you see the stuff behind me. The work came first still at that time, but it was just funny when you're saying like, yeah, like it, you know, it should go smoothly when you're finding the right people. And, you know, like, I guess that was the silver lining of that situation, is that you and I had met through this individual because this individual had initially approached you and you got to talking with him. He was the schmoozer and I was more of the business side of it and sort of the pragmatic individual. And,
you know, you're the story creative. You know, with the level head, the other person was kind of, you know, but whatever. That's the creative life. There's all, you know, we're all, you know, got our own little things, but there was many little. So here we are. So I basically out of pocket, you know, $800 to go do this thing where they are, you know, in fucking Ohio or whatever. And we're supposed to basically pitch this thing to Stan Lee. Right, in his company, right, dude. 10 minutes before we're ready to walk out, he pulls a prima donna, not Shane, but he's like, oh, da, da, da. I'm like, dude, who the fuck do you think you are? You're not fucking Spielberg, dude.
Right?
I said, I'm not fucking Spielberg. You know, Shane's not fucking Spielberg, dude. Who the fuck do you think? You know, you can't pull this 11th hour bullshit. You know, like I was like fucking like what? And like, you know, me and Shane were like just you know, oh my God, dude. Wow. Just, you know, not just one thing, you know, it was, you know, so, you know, me and Shane would get on the phone and work. Okay, here's storyline, here's, you know, okay, here's this, boom. And then we bullshit. The other person like would never. I'm like, no, we got to get back to. Hold on, let me do this 25-minute story that I've already told you 17 times. I'm like, dude, come on, we gotta, you know. But you know, well, it's weird. At least you know. That's why it takes so long to make.
You didn't have to go to...
Sorry, go ahead, Shane.
I was just gonna say, at least you didn't have to go to restaurants with him, because all those bullshit stories you're talking about, he would have to give his entire resume. Like, if we were we just done 13 hours at a convention and you just want to eat something, and it doesn't, you're going to TGI Fridays or something, you just want to order. And, you know, aside from the laundry list of allergies, on top of that, you had the, and fine, whatever, that's a health concern. It's like, oh, you want to know, like, you know who I am? You want to know what I worked on? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, just fucking order dinner. Nobody cares.
Just get your mozzarella sticks. Come on.
Totally, man. And yeah, so, you know, but the guys who do the Comic-Con too, I mean, dude, it's a lot of work. I mean, dude, you gotta hike your shit in, like, dude, it's a cruise. And you know, it could be a pain in the ass, plus there's a ton of people, you know, but you know, and then, you know, if your boot's busy, dude, you're fucking working, man. And that's a long day.
Yeah.
You know, and these guys do fucking, you know, 40 shows. Some of these guys do 40 shows a fucking year.
Well, I mean, as you know, Vince, this is not my wheelhouse. I'm not in the comics. I don't know much about any of this stuff, but my kids did drag me to a Comic-Con here in town a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I was blown away, man. It was mobbed. I mean, you know, it was like, it was a big deal, you know, so.
Totally. It's almost like the only place where, you know, it's like, dude, you walk in that building and you know what? It's so cool because you're looking around and there's all these people who may not go out normally.
Yeah.
Not all, but, you know, there's a certain segment of us that, you know, like we found our escape in comics. Yeah. And, you know, and maybe that was, you know, I'm dyslexic, so I learned to read through the comic books.
Yeah. There looked like a fair amount that didn't get laid either. I'm just saying, you know.
Well, yeah, but you can go to a metal show and it's the same thing, you know.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
But any dedicated fandom, and you'll find that. Like, it doesn't matter. You think the UFC guys, like,
right?
Yeah. I think, like Corey Smith, he's a buddy of mine. He does like 40 shows a year. Like, it's insane the amount of shows that guy does.
It's crazy.
It's a lot of, and he's got a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good stuff, but dude, like, to set that up, fucking rip it down, dude. Oh my God. A lot of these guys,
he does sculpture too, right? Like Corey, like he does, he works in 3D as well. So that adds a component of fragility to traveling with that stuff on top of the, not just doing the work, but having to transport it safely. And then this sculpture that you spent a week on, you open the box and the fucking arm broke off or something.
Can you imagine? Okay, you'd have like a meltdown, right? I mean, you'd freak out.
Oh, you just got to handle it and fix it, Like
so I mean, is it lucrative for these cats? I mean, I hope, it's like
it can be.
Yeah. Okay.
It also can.
It was for me. Yeah. And I mean, when I was doing, I think for me, the most lucrative years that I was doing it was between about 2011 and 2013 was the time that a lot of artists were starting to catch on. Like, I initially, when I was doing shows, it was to sell my own books. It was to, this is why I got into the industry in the first place, because I wanted to tell my own stories. I was inspired by all that stuff I said before. So I wanted to work on my stuff and get it out there. The problem, however, is that when you work on a book for like 6 months to a year, and you print it, you put it together, you print it, you pay for the printing and all that, your profit margin on that book is maybe $2 or $3, that you're making on this. You're proud of it, and if no one's heard of it, you get a lot of people walking by and just like not really interested, and that's fine. That's paying the dues. But a lot of people realize that, hey, I can make a couple bucks on a book that I spent a year on, or I can do these fan art prints of established characters by like Marvel and DC or Star Wars or whatever else. And even though it was like technically against the rules, most of the convention organizers turned a blind eye to it, and like really would only come down on people if they were directly contacted by the IP owners. And in fact, like DC leaned into it a few years back, where they started saying like, you know what, people are going to do this stuff anyway, so let's make statues out of certain people's interpretations, like in Artist Alley. So now you have a situation where you can do these art prints that, you spend a few hours, maybe a day or two, if you're someone who's like putting a lot of work into it, and you print these things out, and they're costing you maybe like $1 or $2 tops to print, even less in some cases, and you're selling them for 10, 15, $20, and then there's a profit margin. So I fell into that sort of money trap for years, the 2011 to 2013, and it was good money. But then it became oversaturated because everyone else catches on, everyone else starts doing it, that the conventions are charging more for tables, and it balances out. So I hit the point shortly thereafter where I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I've lost sight of why I'm doing this. The money's not even good anymore, but on top of that, I'm feeling creatively bankrupt. Like, I'm feeling like nothing is like, who cares if I'm drawing the Spider-Man that everyone else is doing? You are feeling like a whore. Yeah, exactly. So I decided to step back from doing shows at that point and just focus more on smaller things, anthology projects, or leaning more into development projects as well, just sort of doing whatever I can to feel more creatively fulfilled, even if it wasn't as financially sound. And eventually I ended up working with Informa, who's the company now who's running all the conventions basically in North America. And I was working with their organization team, the comic guest team. So I was the guy who's like bringing people to panels and, like making sure their table's covered and stuff like that. So that was a fun few years. We had a good team doing that. But I actually told them just this past show, the last Fan Expo, I'm like, okay, I'm done doing this because I want to really focus back on the creative, and I might start doing shows again. But if I am, it's going to be with my own stuff again. So, but the money was good. Some people still do well, but not everyone.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. And sometimes in these bigger conventions, and when he's talking about Artist Alley, for someone who hasn't been to a Comic-Con, please go to your local one next time it's in town. Sometimes there's 200, sometimes there can be up to 600 people in Artist Alley sometimes. So there's a huge amount to digest. What I mean? The smaller the Artist Alley, the better for the artists, you know, even in those numbers though, not everyone, you know, it's a lot of people who are learning. So, you know what I mean? You get to see, like, then you go back to the next year, you know, it's kind of cool because you're watching, you know, progression of these young artists coming up, and, you know, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of
if
older
you
people.
can, if you can keep track of that, and this is the problem every year, I find that the shows get bigger and bigger. So they'll say like, let's cut out the food court in this area and add another 100 tables. So it's sensory overload. Like a lot of the non-artists that I know who go to the shows, like I have a few friends that I've made over the years who, like, I'll say like, oh hey, like if you ever never been to a show, come check it out. And a lot of them can't even like last a day because they're like sensory overload. They're like, I could only look at stuff for so long because I had to get out of there. And Jason, you might, you know, having gone there, you know, yourself, you said pretty recently. I don't know if you felt that way too, where it's like there's so much stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not only the like, you know, the tables and the exhibitors, but just the people, you know, just the fans that come. I mean, it was like that was pretty fun for me. It was entertaining. I mean, it just you know,
sure.
And my kids dressed up, you know, they did that, but I mean, some of the costumes I saw were like unbelievable. You know, it was.
You want to hear one of my most repeated sentences at a Comic-Con? If another motherfucker hits me with this backpack, dude, because everyone's excited and they're like, they got shit.
Yeah.
You're always so like, sometimes you're like getting ping ponged, you know,
on
the thing by backpacks, you know.
There was like a dude, I remember he was like standing on this like one-wheeled motorized thing, and he was like zipping in and out of people, and it was like,
and dude, sometimes there's stuff there that like it'll take your breath away, man. The fucking amount of talent.
Oh yeah,
like, you'll see someone build like, you what?
Yeah, you made that?
Yeah, you know, like some of the cosplay is just fucking unbelievable, and then the art and sculpture and you know, and dude, everyone's happy at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's totally
like
true.
Feeling because all these people who are there, you know, the people who get shit every day for being who they are, which they shouldn't be. And dude, it's the happiest fucking place to be.
There was no there was none of this, like, you know, there was everybody was cool. It was like, you know, there was no tension. It was I dug that part of it, you know. And I don't do well in big crowds, you know? So,
or then you like see someone like dressed up as the most obscure characters, and you know, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like, I'm doing this for 5 people. Who get 5 people out of this 100,000 people are gonna know what this is from, and I'm doing this for them.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those 5, you're like,
who is that? Right, exactly. You know. Oh, this is this character was in one panel in Batman 389.
Yeah. one panel. A character that's in one panel, and yet this person has decided to devote like 3 weeks to putting this costume together, or longer, and you know, might have done some more time at the gym to get the right physique to fit this. Like, they put more thought into the character than the person who created the character, really. And they're probably like emailing the creator saying like, can I get a rotation so I know what the back looks like? They're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the guy's got like a fan site, you know, and there's like 10,000 people around the world belong to it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, some of the guys make, you know, and ladies make really good money.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, a lot of people don't know how to sell, or, you know.
Yeah, it's probably a learning curve, right? You know.
Yeah, but if you can offset with certain things, you know, like, you know, what's the best for someone who wants to get into that? You should probably like Chicago. If you did like 6 hours circumference from Chicago, you could probably do 30 shows a year. Even.
I'm gonna step out and rehydrate. I'll be right back.
All right.
I mean, more than that, a big thing even in Toronto now is like the local scene has become like I'm doing a show tomorrow, actually. Like I'm running a show in March a toy show, actually. Like I run those conventions sometimes, the collector shows. So that's another little project that I'm doing. So I'm doing another toy show tomorrow, and there's currently another one happening in St. Catharines, which is like a couple hours from here. And a good friend of mine today, she texted me to show me like, oh, I saw a couple of your books being sold at this convention, like a couple books that I had worked on over the past couple of years. And it was just funny because like the writer of this book, because I'm doing the art for it, didn't tell me, because he actually sent me the script. I did the first 2 books. He sent me the script yesterday for the third book that we're going to be finishing off in the new year. And I'm like, I didn't even know that he was doing a show, but this is like, you're talking about like shows around, you know, different cities and stuff. No, like within the same city, you're probably going to find like multiple, like Toronto has every weekend, I think there's a show that are start like, and during the pandemic obviously slowed that down a lot for obvious reasons, but now it's they're starting to come back again. And that was my concern, was starting to do shows again myself. I didn't want to contribute to the oversaturation, but it seems like it's starting to creep back a little bit. So it's there's definitely a lot that you can do with that.
So what's changed from then till now? You know, in the past 10 years.
Well, the big thing is that I think everyone who's been to a show thinks that they can run a show, and thinks that it's like, oh, well, if there's so much money in this, why don't I go to a hotel and get a banquet room, or, you know, go to the community center or whatever. And yeah, theoretically that's correct. But the flip side of that is that because there's so many out there, it gets to the point where the people coming to the shows, because there's so many to go to, they start to get a bit jaded, and then people are like, well, why aren't I making as much money? I'm like, because there have been like 12 back-to-back weekends of shows, and it's all the same people going to the shows in the area. So they're more going as a social thing a lot of times, like, because, you know, there's only so much shit that people can buy. And like, even myself, like with the collectibles too, like at Christmas time, my fiance says to me, like, I don't know what to get for you, because you buy everything yourself. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. So you don't have to worry about that. Like, I don't want you to, you know, it's sort of getting to the point now where I'm almost out of space anyway. And when other people buy me collectibles, it's a nice thought. I appreciate it. But at the same time, it's like, they don't always know the stuff that I'm into specifically. So it's like, oh, okay, that's a nice thing you got, but I don't know where it's gonna go. So it ends up I feel like I've got like Indiana Jones, the warehouse of boxes, you know, like in my closet of like things that are never gonna be on display. And this is why, like tomorrow, where I'm promoting my own show, I have a table, and I'm gonna be selling some of that stuff, because my philosophy is like, if I bought it and it's not on a shelf, then I'm not actually enjoying it. I'm just hoarding at that point. And again, that can be referred to that other individual too. That's another thing as well. But and I heard from a family member of his that it's gotten like even more so. But that's a serious thing. But with these shows, there's so many of them now that people are just going because they're happening, and people don't even stop to think like, do I want to go to this thing? It's like, oh, I'm going to see so and so, and I'm going to see this person. It's just like, well, yeah, you can see them wherever without paying admission for it. And that's another thing. I just stopped doing them. I'm like, yeah, because they're not all good. Like, anyone who runs them now, if they're not doing the proper marketing, not enough people show up. So sometimes it's just the dealers are selling to each other, or the artists are buying from the dealers, and vice versa. So it's just like, there's no point in even charging admission. No one's coming to this. And, oh,
hold on.
Do we have another guest?
Oh.
That's Seth.
Oh, hey.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even recognize who it was at first either. What's up, Shane? How's it going?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Another reunion.
Yeah, he's just cruising through, you know. But
you hooked him in.
Exactly. He's like, no. I'm like, no, come on. But Yeah, and a lot, because like out here, people go, okay, so we got X whatever the Comic Con was called, and then they go, okay, and then the other entertainment plus comics, and let's say they go to 2 conventions a year, big ones, and they know they have to have $600, because you want to buy shit. You know what I mean? But I mean, you can drop, dude. You can drop.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the amount of money you can drop.
600
'Cause there's so much cool shit there.
Yeah, I noticed that, man. Like
Yeah.
even a lot of the prints and things, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's actually another thing I forgot about. But it's a key thing because the now that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has really, and that's the big change over the last decade or so. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has really brought the general populace more into comics, which is a good thing in and of itself. But when it comes to the conventions, now you have some retail stores that come in and they start, and that pissed me off a lot, where you'd have like a major retailer who would come in and set up at the shows and like take money out of the pockets of the local small businesses, like the collectible shops. So you've got like Toys R Us or something who's coming in and setting up and discounting. I'm like fuck off, like just
Yeah.
do your own thing. And on top of it, with the celebrities, you've got like a Chris Evans now. He'll do a show, or the guy who played Thor, like Hemsworth, will come, and they'll be charging, and it's not them necessarily; it's their management. They'll be charging like $400 for a signature, and then like another $200 for a photo package. So then, by the time people get to the artist area, there's no money left, and then they they go to the food court. They buy the $12 hot dog and the $4
before going to the finance department.
Yeah, and then they're saying to you like, oh, like can you do a little bit better on that print? It's like, I'm selling you a piece of art for $15 and you're haggling with me, but you just spent $12 on a
hot
dog. Like, why do I have to come out on the short end of
right?
deal?
Yeah,
right. Haggle the Oscar Mayer folks down a little bit. How about that?
Yeah, that's gonna cost me.
If you're lucky. Or like Kirkland, if you're going to the show.
Yeah, man.
Oscar Mayer's the good shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah, that's all getting all fancy. But
yeah,
it's real interesting the amount of money that people drop there. I was I was like, one, cool, because a lot of artists are now professional, and if anyone say, hey, yeah, I may not be making a lot of money, but I am a professional artist, fucking go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's cool. So, and that's how you gain confidence as an artist, not in necessarily for the artist, but for the people around them. It makes them feel somewhat better. You know what I mean? Because some of the, people who are really talented, they don't wind up making, necessarily, because they're focused on, the art itself. But, I think if a lot of artists knew, like which, from my day, from, my age, and then to your age, it was cool to see all those people have that realized, you know what I mean? They weren't the odd one out sitting and drawing a cartoon, or drawing a comic book, or,
It is cool, like, to really, I've made a lot of friends over the years with other artists, and that's been one of the highlights for me of doing the shows, is that you do get to meet a lot of people who are, because and that's true, because when you're doing creative stuff and you're in school and younger, it's like you kind of feel like the misfit or the oddball, or at least that's my experience when I was sort of growing up. It's like not everyone was doing that, so you have this kind of gathering of similar or like-minded people with those kinds of experience, and you relate to each other. There's a lot of shared experience with regards to like social awkwardness and that kind of thing. So it's fun in that way, and it's certainly given me like skill sets, for dealing with different kinds of people, and that's like on both sides of the table, whether it's the people you're working with or the types of characters who are going to come to you. And I'm not just talking in costume. I just mean like in general at the shows, the people who are coming over, whether it's the hagglers or the people who are giving you a hard time about something else, or someone who wants to, like talk your ear off about a character that you've never heard of before, but you're at your table, so you can't go anywhere. Like,
and you're like, oh, didn't some guy dress up as that? That's the one panel guy from Batman 389, right?
Yeah. There's like, but like people just want to reach out. They want to connect, and I get that, and I certainly don't want to take that from people. I just feel bad when someone comes up to me to talk to me about the one panel character, and I can't contribute anything. Or it's just sort of like, oh, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I remember I actually got, I think it was in Chicago, where I got such shit from a bunch of people, because this is before I got into Doctor Who, and I saw that someone had the TARDIS there, like the police box.
Yeah.
And I pointed it out, and I said this seriously, not knowing that I was just about to piss a bunch of people off. Or I just said like, oh, when did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure become a big thing? And then that just opened the floodgates. Like, that's the TARDIS, and I'm like, I don't think we can use that word anymore. But,
like not politically correct.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Why you just yelled that out, dude? Like that's not okay. Like,
that's
just talking
funny.
about Bill and Ted here.
Surprised they didn't pull the pitchforks out and run you out of the place.
Yeah, I was trying to find my picture.
It was close.
What's that?
He froze.
Oh no, Jason was saying you're surprised he didn't pull out the pitchforks.
Yeah.
When I mentioned, I had a guy in the elevator in Chicago. I was wearing an Inspector Gadget T-shirt, and out of nowhere, this is a complete stranger. Out of nowhere, he turns to me and say like, "How does that work if he has to go to the bathroom? Like, what if the helicopter blades come out or something?" And I'm like, "That's it for me." Like,
how does it work?
Like does he?
Everybody knows.
Does he have to say like, "Go
gadget penis"?
Yeah, exactly.
They can go all the way through the, down hallways, downstairs, until it gets outside into the bushes,
I think they have that one on Pornhub, actually, that version of the series.
Well, I may or may not know the guy who does the costumes for the superhero porn parodies.
And I may not go on Pornhub later after the show and look for that.
Oh. Nice. Bring your moisturizer.
What is it, Rule 34 or whatever? If you can think of it, it exists. Okay, like there's a porn version of every, and that's sort of what I joke about with bad cosplay at shows. Where if I see someone in a costume that looks like they didn't put a lot of time into it, my immediate thought goes into like, okay, well that's the porn parody version of that character.
Yeah, they should call it like
it's like
After Hours.
Mm-hmm. Lord of her Rings, like
right. Thermiticus. I just made that up. But yeah, man. So do you still teach?
I had a school that unfortunately had to close down due to the events of the past few years.
Of course.
With all the lockdowns and stuff. So I am currently not actively teaching. Will I ever? Another friend asked me this earlier today, actually, like whether I would go back to doing it, and the answer is like, yeah, like if the situation arises where I could, then I've always enjoyed an opportunity to help others like get into it and stuff like that. I had an unfortunate situation actually that sort of put a damper on things a few months ago, where there was a children's hospital in my city, and a friend who had done some work with them had reached out to me to say like, oh, they're looking for someone to run workshops for the kids in the hospital and stuff. He's like, would you be interested? I'm like, yeah, totally, put me in touch. So the rep who contacted me, we started talking about it, and she's like, oh, if you'd be willing to do this, over Zoom or whatever, we pay you a certain, and I'm like, I cut her off. I'm like, no, you don't have to, it's for a hospital. I'm not taking any money for that. Like that's not what I'm after in that situation. Like I'm happy to do it for them. She's like, okay, well, we're talking to some other people as well. We'll let you know. And then what ended up happening was she contacts me a few days later and says like, oh, you know what? Again, thank you for your offer to do this. We've decided to go with someone else who has a higher social media following. Which to me was like,
wow, has nothing to do with the art.
And since then I've been like, very much like this is what we're measuring these days. Like this is what people are holding as value. It's like I've been teaching for about 25 years now.
But the social currency is how many followers you have. So
exactly. Because someone who does makeup reviews for 2 years and is still in high school, they have more followers than me, therefore they're more qualified. That's the logic that's going on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like if you have 150,000 followers, you can get a pitch. They'll take your phone call.
Yeah.
Even if you can't fucking, write your way out of a fucking napkin.
And I love hearing about how those situations will end up. And it's like, oh, let's approach someone with like no grasp of adult responsibility because they're not actually an adult, and let's involve them in a major project where schedules are involved and stuff like that, and we'll see how that pans out. And I'm like, yes, please
how much
do. And let
what's
me
the
know
budget? I don't know, 2 or 300 million.
Right.
Yeah. let's give that to a teenager on TikTok. Like
right. Yeah.
Let's put our futures in their hands. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm not bitter at all. If you could tell that was the situation.
No. I didn't get the impression that you were by any
right. We were under no such thing, sir.
Yeah. But no, I mean, if you can do it, and it works for you, then great. My thing is like some of the younger kids I see now, they think it's because, all kidding aside, a lot of these influencers and stuff like that are people who have the YouTube channels with huge followings. They do put the work in. So it's not a question of like it's an overnight success. They have to understand marketing. They have to understand, a lot of different like search engine optimization and stuff like that. They need to find a system that works, but they just see the end product. So a lot of kids now will see the end product and think like, I don't need to work. I don't need to gain any experience. I'm just going to be an influencer and do some videos, and and then the world will give me my fame and fortune just by producing stuff. And it's like, okay, if that's what you think, let me know how it goes. And that's just it. Everyone's got to pay their dues.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and there's some really talented people doing it for sure, and some not so talented, but
right.
It's not easy. There's a lot to it. Right. Like Bill Maher started a podcast. I'm like, why?
But Bill Maher's been making like a lot of sense lately. It's kind of freaky.
Well, apart from all that stuff, I just don't, like, dude, why, podcasts are supposed to be for the little dude, the little guys, And it's just kind of weird that all the big dudes are in there.
Yeah, they are. Conan's in it. Yeah, everybody's like podcasting now.
Kind of interesting that way.
Conan's good.
What's that?
Because they own it, because they have ownership over it. And I mean, that's the difference, because that way it becomes marketable for them, and it's not just a show that they're working on and they're at the mercy of whatever studio that they're working for to decide when the plug gets pulled or doesn't. So I think that's where it comes from. But I understand what you're saying, though. To me, it's comparable to that whole thing where you got the big retailers like Walmart and Toys R Us and stuff showing up at the conventions where the small businesses are trying to thrive, and then this happens. So it pisses me off when that stuff happens, and it makes me
they're trying to pull out the Walmart business model of crushing the mom and pop stores. You know what I mean? Like Just moving to
Yeah.
town and kill them. You know.
Yeah. And Amazon too, but
Yeah, oh, dude, don't get me started on those bastards. I had the worst morning, the worst Saturday ever today, man.
yeah.
I got to my second stop today, and the fucking Amazon guy had they ignore their appointments at the post office, and he just fucking put a pallet on the lift that was falling off. Everything was caving. And then the one behind it, he had jerked the pallet out completely underneath it, so I couldn't even unload. I staged up, and I had to go help the girls in the post office. We had to physically just unload shit, before I was an hour behind schedule because of these plans. But sorry, I didn't mean to vent.
Hey, man, we're here for you, buddy. Let it out. Show us on the doll where
Right.
Amazon hurt you.
Yeah, like this.
It's the people what pisses me off is the people who talk about shopping, say oh, I shop local, and they brag about it, but that they're the people who are only shopping local because they couldn't find what they wanted on fucking Amazon. Oh, it's gonna take it's 2 days shipping. Well, I need it today because I have no time.
I'm not paying $17 to ship that.
Yeah.
So and so,
So-
blah down the street will have it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they could brag and make themselves feel better on social media, saying I shopped at a local store for the first time in 12 years, so give me a medal now. And it's
they only say that they're shopping local because they wound up on Facebook. Someone took a picture of them. They probably just went in there to use the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
They yelled at someone over a parking spot.
Shit local.
I think we got a new T-shirt there.
Yeah, that's going on the
shit local.
The T-shirt store.
Yeah. But
put me down for a large.
It really is amazing,
He said put him down for a large. Large, you insensitive prick.
It's
I'm a 2X.
Yeah, they'll spend whatever. Oh, here's this here's this thing I'm never gonna use, and it's $149, and then they're bitching about a fucking $20 fucking print. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what's so amazing. It's creative stuff. It's not worth. Yeah, it is. It's worth money. Get out of here. I never understood, man.
But it'll never change. You know what I mean? There's always that faction.
It's crazy.
So.
Well, conversely, during the period of time where certain jobs were labeled as essential and certain jobs were not labeled as essential, I was witnessing a lot of fellow creatives getting kind of irate, and it made me laugh only because they were saying well, I'm essential too. I provide, I provide art and inspiration. I'm you're not essential from a survival standpoint. Okay. Let's separate the two. There's the people who are feeding others and taking care of them medically. And then there's the people drawing pictures of Spider-Man. You're doing the second one. And somehow I think others can survive without that
But
one,
you know what?
But not the other thing.
Hey, Shane, I'm going to tell those motherfuckers being essential ain't all it's cracked up to be, because I was essential and I was I had my tongue hanging out. I was I'm why can't I get a fucking month off for fuck's sakes, I'm damn it. I'm going to all these factories and picking up mail here and there. And I'm I don't know if I'm getting COVID. I don't know what the fuck I'm getting, So, yeah, I didn't want to be essential. I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Essentialism.
Am I ranting again? I'm sorry. I think I need
that's all right.
I need a vacation.
Yeah. Oh, Shane, so here's an idea that we have for a little animated short. It's V meets the aliens.
Hey.
Was the last thing they expected.
Hey, maybe we can get Shane in on this one. Because I have a secret love for this project, and it's not being realized.
I chase. Basically, the thing is I wake up mid implant and I seek my revenge and chase the aliens off planet.
Let's just say that Vince turns the anal probe dichotomy around on the aliens.
Yeah.
I would watch that.
Yeah. Right. They didn't like it too much.
Have
And
Have
they
you heard
fled.
about
They
Cocaine
fled
Bear?
planet Earth.
Yes, isn't that
Yes.
awesome? Dude, I hope there's a scene where the thing's shitting in
it's-
the woods, you know.
Dude, Vince, when you
it's like-
posted that, I thought there's no way this is real, and
Yeah.
then I'm seeing it everywhere now.
Yep. Cocaine Bear.
Well, my reaction was the opposite, where it's like nowadays I was like I saw it being shared by a few friends, and I'm like, well, of course it's real. This is where we are right now as a society. That
Right.
Right.
I get my news. I get my news from the Onion because they're at least being honest. Like the tongue-in-cheek headlines are essentially truthful, and
Right.
and like Cocaine Bear, it's like sure, why not? You got fucking Sharknado and
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
like Jurassic Robot, like I don't know, like
Yeah, but
whatever you think of now.
so
Yeah.
so here's what
If you can get
pisses
someone
me off.
I know.
Here's what pisses me off. If I wrote fucking Cocaine Bear and they go, you want us to put up $4 million to make a movie called Cocaine Bear, and they'd be like, get out of our office. But now it's like somebody did that and they were like, yeah, here's
Right.
let me write you a check, you know?
Right. Yeah, because it'd be like this. Hey, do you have a like a elevator pitch? I said no, but I got the voiceover for the commercial.
Yeah.
We're 3 kilos of cocaine, a grizzly bear, and the will to live
Right.
all come together.
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear this fall on
Yeah.
Fox.
Like Shane mentioned Sharknado. I was listening to something on the radio one day while I was,
Dude, they made a ton of money.
I'm like, who the fuck puts up millions of dollars to make a movie called Sharknado?
Oh, the original one was almost done for nothing. That's why. But
And didn't they do like 4 or 5?
they did like 5 of them. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
We've
gotta
reached
get it.
that.
Yeah, we got to get. I mean, like we were old and jaded. Like
Dude,
nobody.
some things are supposed to be left in the room where you're smoking a joint together with your buddies.
Yes.
Like certain things.
But but here's the thing. It's like in
Dude,
Vince,
a tornado, right?
you and I are in our 50s, so we remember the days where like no was no, but like now maybe no is yes.
I don't know.
So let's
Well, we
start
can't
writing
say that.
stupid shit.
No. Yeah.
Let's start writing stupid shit and making a million. I mean, come on.
Right.
Let's do it.
Okay. Here's one. Okay. Christmas movie or not?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Give me
Yes.
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas over Die Hard any fucking day.
Right?
Yes.
Sure.
Are you guys not Emmett Otter fans? Because
who do what?
Because I'm hanging up if you're not.
I can't say I'm
Jim-
a fan because I don't know what that is.
Jim Henson, man. It was like Henson's, like, the puppets, the otters and the.
What
yeah.
show?
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. It was like,
Okay. Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, Kermit.
All right.
Kermit the Frog did like the intro.
I heard about
The
this.
river the River Bottom Nightmare Band was the heavy metal band with the bear and the fucking like weasel playing bass. Come on, guys.
Nice.
It's
No,
Jim
I
Henson.
thought
mean,
I
it's
saw
not about
most of the stuff from Henson.
Dude, if you don't know,
missed
you
that
need to
one.
go. You need to go check it out.
Nice. All I heard
Yeah,
was Jug.
that's on the list. That's happening. Where is it on anything? Like I think Disney owns the Muppets now, so can I find it on Disney Plus or something?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I saw it back in the day in the wild, but I'm not sure nowadays. But probably YouTube, right? You can see clips or something. I don't know. But
With some Russian
Emmett
subtitles
Otter.
on it.
right.
Drashting Bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Gamble.
doesn't sound like fun.
Right. Are you a boy?
We sound weird.
Yeah. Dude, my favorite things from like watching things hypothetically, and then you'll get the fucking pop-up ad, dude, cunt wars. I don't know whoever designed that video game.
Is that real?
Yeah, but
Wow.
good for them. You know.
I'm ready to be a
What's it called?
soldier.
Cunt Wars.
Are they looking for
Cunt Wars.
volunteers?
I haven't
sign
played
up?
it. I just
Can I
cracked up
join up?
to see it. Yeah,
What
I don't know.
streaming service is that coming up on? I don't.
It's called xhamster.com.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hello.
that's what I thought.
nice.
That's one of the things that doesn't lead you to a someone invading your computer. It's like I'm just trying to watch the video. I've been amazed.
Oh no!
That should be a movie. A guy who gets like trapped in a never-ending cycle of pop-ups from porn sites and he can't get out. Like he just wants to watch a clip and it's just there's something on my computer now. There's something on my phone.
Yeah.
God damn, how many click.
That guy may or may not have been me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Pitch that one. You just throw an animal in there.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
porn tiger.
Whitehouse.gov.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh.
No, but
Oh,
if
boy.
you want to make one of those disaster animal films, the last ingredient is you got to find like whatever star from Melrose Place or 90210. No one's talked about since then.
Shannon Doherty.
And yeah, you gotta bring like one of them into it. You gotta hit.
Okay. So, what do you think about the whole DC shakeup? To settle that was like, what is going on already? I think it's in good hands with James Gunn. What do you think?
He doesn't know what the hell you're talking
like
about.
Yeah, he does.
No.
You
For
know,
a second,
Jason.
I'm like, were you talking comics or were you talking movies? No, I heard about the James Gunn thing. Yeah, I love what he does on the Guardian stuff, and that was a huge mistake by Marvel. And I know that they ended up hiring him back after that whole situation happened where he got kicked off the third film, and then they brought him back. But no, I think they're in good friends. In good hands. The only problem is I just don't give a shit about DC films anymore in general. So that's where I'm coming in. Where it's like with DC, it's like I enjoyed the Nolan Batman films. Like Begins was really good, and then Dark Knight was amazing, and then there was the last one with Bane, where I didn't know what was going on, but it was an ending, and I accepted it. And then after that, it was kind of, and then everyone talked about. I got hyped up. Everyone's like, "Oh, you got to see Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's like one of the greatest films ever." And then I watched it on a plane. I remember on my way to San Francisco, and all I thought to myself was like, "It's good," but I think the reason people think it's even better is because relative to the other shit that DC was making,
Right.
It was cohesive and made sense. But like to me, it was like, yeah, this is just a solid movie, and if they did more like this, it would seem less impressive to everyone. But I wasn't overly impressed. But then in subsequent films, like that, my favorite DC film in recent years is actually the Joker film, which is not like any. I don't know if either of you have seen that one. With nothing to do with superhero stuff at all. It is a like a mind bender, psychological thriller almost in that sense, and I really enjoyed that because it was very different. And they're gonna fuck it up now with the sequel. Of course, they've announced the sequel, so I'm like, well, we have a good standalone at least, and then they're gonna ruin it. Just like I saw the Indiana Jones trailer a couple of days ago for that new whatever that's gonna be. But fool me once, not gonna happen again. Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that was so horrible. I mean, it was painful to watch, and some of the CGI was so bad in the trailer.
Everything, like that whole film was a travesty. Like from the, have you ever watched a movie where the first shot in the film will sort of dictate to you how you're going to feel about the rest of the movie? And they did it with this one where they did the traditional Indiana Jones, like the mountain thing, and they did it with the prairie dog. And I'm like, well, this is the perfect analogy for what this film is going to be.
Nice.
Basically, it's going to be
Speaking of prairie dogging,
slowly.
Yeah,
right.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that's an analogy for.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. That was the metaphor of that film,
Yeah.
where it was like, this is definitely a turd that's coming out right now. And the thing that
I'm
pissed me
prairie
off was
dogging
like,
in
I
a
went to
theater
the,
right now.
yeah, I went to the midnight showing. So I was pissed off that I lost sleep over that film.
You were
Right.
serious.
Like,
Yeah.
You should have gotten
I
your
could
money
have been
back.
in bed.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted my time back. They can keep my money. I just
Yeah.
wanted that 2.5 hours or whatever that was. That was brutal. That was shameful.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad. I mean, yeah. But
And
all
same
right,
with,
hey
like,
Jason,
the Rise of Skywalker.
you ready to do Jason's picks?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. What are we going to start with?
Yeah, so we'll do Ray Wiley Hubbard. The album I picked was Ruffian's Misfortune, but everything by him is fantastic. I've been on a real singer-songwriter kick. I bought a particularly great cheap acoustic guitar this week.
Nice.
It's an old Sigma by Martin, and so I've been going down that rabbit hole. And but yeah, Ray Wiley Hubbard, Texas, Texas guy, great tunes.
And
Any
what
album.
what kind of music does he do?
I mean, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's some of it's bluesy, like Southern blues, singer-songwriter. Just depends. Got some funny stuff. I mean, he's all over the place, but he's a legend.
Yeah.
And on this particular album, great song called Stone Blind Horses. That's a highlight, but he's got funny stuff like Snake Farm on other records. Well, I don't know. Just check it out. I'm drawing a blank. I've had a few cocktails, so
Right.
yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the book.
Yeah, Unknown Mongol Part 2. Great series. Scott Jr. Erickson. He was a national president of the Mongols Motorcycle Club. I've done both books. This was the second one that I've done this week, and good read. If you want to get inside that life. And the second book is about a 14-year prison sentence that he was looking at for a little bar brawl. But yeah, good read, straight from the horse's mouth kind of deal, real deal. So those two books are definitely recommended if you're into that whole the biker thing. So
Right on.
yeah.
All right. So before we forget, let's hey everybody, sometimes y'all need to talk to someone, so in case you didn't know, you can now text 988 to the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. There'll be someone there to talk to you. You can talk to them on the phone or the website. That's 1-800-273-8255 or text 988. Someone there to talk to you. I know sometimes the most heaviest lift can be that telephone, but please make the effort. We'd rather have you here. So in reboot news with V. So this reminded me, we were talking earlier. Shane, say how you described or how you said like that you're going to be on the podcast with Vince to your girlfriend.
Well, you were I'm like, Vince, you haven't met him, but he's the guy who told this other person who we mentioned earlier that asked him after that guy was complaining about having to walk too far, and by too far it was like 12 minutes, that you asked whether his vagina was hurting. And she's like, oh yeah, that guy. Okay.
Wait, you cut out. What did I say to him?
You asked him whether, because he was complaining about the walk was too far, he didn't realize it was so far away, and you asked him whether his vagina was hurting.
You insensitive prick.
Right. So that
Yeah.
brings me
I mean-
to a reboot idea. Okay. One of the cheesiest movies. Now, this wasn't a porn, Jason. So I know I know it's a stretch.
Damn it.
You know, even though you stretch this way, but anyway,
Yeah.
so there was this movie called The Voice Box.
Hmm.
Okay. And the album or the cover of the VHS tape was a microphone next to a lady's mid region, let's say.
I'd love to see that sometime.
So my girlfriend, who manages the video store at the time, brings this home after work one day, and I'm like, "What is this?" She's like, "It's the most funniest movie ever, and it's called The Voice Box." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "It's supposed to be like almost like an 80s like horror parody kind of, but it's so stupid, dude." Okay, so basically, her vagina can sing really well, like amazing vocal prowess, right? So her family likes that better than her. So that's it's like the whole backdrop of the movie and how ridiculous. In the 80s, man, we had some ridiculous low budget movies.
They just don't make the classics anymore.
Oh,
man.
one of my favorite low budget of all time is Basket Case. That movie is so bad it's great. You know what I mean? But anyway,
they don't make enough vagina movies for my liking these days. I'm just gonna.
you're on the wrong. Yeah, you got to go to the other side of the internet.
Yeah.
But
have you heard of Teeth?
No. No.
Uh-oh.
It's exactly how it sounds.
Well, Jason's gonna be busy after we get off of the fucking thing tonight.
I'm never gonna get to bed tonight, thanks to you guys. I'll be on the internet all night.
Yeah. Next thing you know, Jason's like, president of the Teeth fan club.
Right.
It says bite me on the back.
Oh God. Thank you so much.
Right. But speaking of thank you, I want to thank everyone again for checking out the Lux Eterna reaction that me and Jay did the other day. And absolutely. But all right, Shane, we're gonna wrap it up here. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. We got to have you back because we only scratched the surface.
Right. Yeah.
And welcome to the pod family.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like the mafia, but not really.
And I love that you're in Toronto, man. I spent too much time up there for some redneck American, So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Come back anytime. We'll
you guys are so
Right?
nice, man. You Canadians. Yeah.
Absolutely. And speaking of rednecks, CreatiVity talking like a motherfucker. Hats off to George. We miss you, buddy. And
love
you're
you
forever in our logo now, man. So there you go. And all right, we're gonna wrap it up. Jay, love you, brother.
Love you
Jay,
guys.
love you, man. Nice seeing you. And hey, everybody, with Christmas coming up, you know what you got to do? Not a goddamn thing.
Send us some money.
Peace to everyone, no matter what you believe or don't. And you shouldn't actually have a day to celebrate. You should celebrate it every day, because one of these days you're gonna look up wind up looking like me or Jason. We got Studley on Shane underneath, holding up the old guys. But,
Hey,
all right.
Enjoy your dark beer.
I'm rambling.
Shane,
Apparently, the bourbon's kicking in now. So, good night, everybody. Shane, happy Hanukkah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas. And we'll talk to you soon. All right, everyone. Peace.